Hmm. 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 Welcome back to the table, guys. This will be a video regarding what I've been up to an extent. I need to do another video regarding the game development that's been going on off and on for about a year, but kind of hit it hot and heavy here lately in an attempt to kind of lock features down and finish things up. But I think we'll save that for another video. What I will go into in this video is the for fun stuff that I've been doing, which is what you see before you here. So we've got grid, poster size grids. Let's see, this would be 4 separate panels that I've printed out, placed plexiglass over the top, and started running a dungeon crawl. Now this would be an adventure that was done for me, and so this is the second attempt I've made to run through it, but specifically what we are referring to would be B1, B for the basic rules, and that's what I've been using. Been very pleasant, actually. B1 Dungeon Module, In Search of the Unknown by Mike Carr. Introductory module for character levels 1 to 3. So I ran through it once and had quite a dramatic adventure with this. And yes, I ran it solo, and yes, it can be done. We'll get to that. I made it into... Now this is something I printed off and laminated from that module, but I think I made it through most of this area and then ended up falling into a trap that I was unable to discover, which put me in the lower level here, and I didn't make it. Once I was in the lower level, I didn't make it far at all. In fact, I ended the adventure rather quickly. But had enough fun doing it, I thought, well, let's try this again. And then after some time, that's what I did. And trying at best to figure out how to render this, this is what I came up with. So this is just a dry erase marker, some plexiglass over, as mentioned, a grid that I printed out in 4 sheets that covers most of this gaming table, so lots of space. And what I did was, based on the... So there's a random encounter roll every 2 turns for wandering monsters, and basically if you roll a 1 on a 6-sided die, there's a wandering monster encounter. Otherwise, that has rooms numbered. So as I've made my way through the dungeon here the second time, I number each room, as you can see with the question marks here. I didn't make it in these rooms. And it's chit draw. So is there a monster in a room or not? Well, we have a number of chits that say yes, a number of chits that say no, based on the total number of rooms in this dungeon scenario, if you will, and treasure or no treasure, again based on the number of rooms and number of possible treasures that can be found. And that's how we're running that. So as you can see here, there's already some chits pulled that were designated, so there would be nothing found in this room. Found a treasure in room 27, nothing in 24, which is off camera here, and nothing in 23. We found a treasure in room 33, and it was... So I was doing this is the second run through, and I was doing my random wandering monster checks. I wasn't getting anything, wasn't getting any monsters in the rooms. It wasn't until I made my way all the way up to here, and I forget how many turns that was, where I finally ran into a monster, and I think it was a troglodyte, which we killed. But we also... Where's my notes here? There we go. It's at room 33. That would have been turn 37, I believe. The dwarf died, which was our first encounter with a monster, and it was a wandering troglodyte. And technically, again, the dwarf died, but rather than call it quits with 4 adventurers down to 3. I revived him just on a whim and kept going to see how far I could get. Didn't get too much farther. It wasn't until we got into this room here, which I believe is, I can see this, room 6, and ran into some bona fide, I pulled a monster shit. So it wasn't a wandering monster, it was about 5 goblins that were in that room. Knocked out 2 of them, 3 of them ran off. And why was that? Because I utilized the morale rules that are optional in the rule set that I've been using, which is the basic rules here. And it's curious because I wonder who borrowed from who. And, you know, there's the morale rules, which is what Squad Leader and ASL is known for. And there's the morale rules in here. And I'd be curious to know who came up with it first, because I swear one borrowed from the other. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I utilized the morale rules and knocked off 2 goblins, killed rather, and 3 ran off. But I lost my thief. So at this point, yes, I could just revive the thief and keep going. But essentially, if you're playing this like you're supposed to, I've lost half my party. So that's where it's kind of ended. And when I run through, and this is typical of me with any game, when I run through or play, it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending each session. There are no major hours-long sessions with me. So these things can carry on for weeks, which is kind of what's happened. I just hit it a little bit each night. By no means burning myself out, but it's been a lot of fun. And again, yes, you can play this solo. When it comes to moving through a dungeon and you come to an option direction-wise, roll a die, which randomly determines which direction the party chooses to go. You've got your wandering monster rolls. You've got your chit draw for a room to see what's in there. Chit draw for a treasure to see if there's something in there. And then you have, because of the nature of these adventures that are pre-generated adventures, you get pre-made, pre-generated descriptions for each room you enter, which is very cool as well. When it comes to traps, you simply roll to see if traps can be found. If not, well, they're not found. There's a lot of doors in here. Some are locked. Some need to be bashed in. But it's all doable, and that's what I've been doing. When it comes to combat, if you'll direct your attention to this here, I zoom out. So this was where this room 6 is where the combat took place. And I feel like each square is about 10 feet. So when we zoom out, we double that with our squares. So actually the tactical battle that takes place the room will be double size-wise what you see here to allow for tactical combat. I haven't amended those rules. I've been playing everything the way you're supposed to. You know, I like to interject things and switch things up and create things, but I haven't done that with this because essentially I've been doing that with the game Wither, the game that I've been working on. When this channel took a turn roughly a year ago, and I said, you know, I have to do something different, that whole thing, I started working on Wither, and I'm still working on it. It's probably 80-85% done. There's just some little things that need to be tweaked through playtesting, but essentially it's done. Again, I'm going to save that for another video, but so that has allowed me to play this as I normally would, because I can do all my custom creativity stuff with that. So that's what's been going on here. I haven't purchased anything that I can think of. Did a little painting, which I think I already showed you guys, so we won't get into that. I have enough stuff that I can pretty accurately represent the variety required for running through a dungeon. I've got all kinds of stuff I can use. Orcs, goblins, wolves, wraiths, skeletons, undead, spiders, giants, trolls, dragons, the basics, the staples. So there's that. Again, it's been a lot of fun. I have debated on whether or not to share some of this gameplay on camera. Obviously I didn't. There's no specific reason why not. Just never got to it. A little bit frustrated with, had some sound issues in the last video, may or may not have sound issues in this one. I tested it a couple of times, sounded okay. Camera's not the best, and the frustration comes in with, I have access to a wonderful Canon digital camera that I can use and a great microphone, and having issues with getting it to work. So I said, well, I'll just try the microphone, and I can't get the microphone to show up or be recognized in the options that I can choose for microphone when I record, and I have no idea why. So again, I have some learning curve here as far as how to get that stuff to work. So I've just regressed back to the old Blue Yeti mic, which was redlining and blowing out in the last video. I'm not sure why. Hopefully that doesn't do that again. Again, I tested this to see what would happen, and we hope for the best. But so there's that. The other thing that I've been doing is, oh, and before I get to that, this was actually the first module I ran through. Now this is officially a solo module, and I don't know if any of you remember this, but you will use the invisible ink pen, so as you go through you reveal what's going on. And with this, I printed off, it has everything revealed already, but that's easily enough handled, because simply don't read ahead, where you just read as you go along. And I used a piece of paper to prevent accidental looking ahead by way of text, and it was a lot of fun. In fact, there's a pre-generated character in that adventure that I kept and have used twice now to represent myself, a thief. For the 2 times I ran through this, I've been using this. So there's that. Then that brought me to, again, as mentioned, this module, which is what we see before us. I've run not through the whole thing, but I've made 2 attempts now with this module. It's been a lot of fun. I've liked it. To recap, I'm using the basic rules to do so. And then I've kind of gone nuts with just printing things off, and I'll try and run through a little as rapidly as possible, but I've gone a little nuts with this. So I went to the local comic book store for the first time in years and found some plastic bags to put these in to keep everything separated and nice and whatnot. So we've got the original white box Dungeons and Dragons stuff. So this would be Men and Magic Volume 1 of 3 booklets. Monsters and Treasures Volume 2. And the Underworld and Wilderness Adventures Volume 3. Printed off. What do I plan to do with those? I have no idea. It was there. I printed it off. There's all this stuff that is just, you can find it and print it. This is the Greyhawk supplement that came with the white box. The Blackmore. And then the Eldritch Wizardry, which they call Supplement 3. Let's see if I can pull all this stuff out. That brings us to various rules, iterations. This is the E or Expert Moldvay version. Then you have the Mincer stuff, which is these guys here. The Player's Manual and Dungeon Master's Rule Book. Then you have, let's do it this way. This is also the Mincer Expert Rule Book. And then we get into adventures, and this is where I've gone nuts. So here's a legendary Dark Tower D&D adventure. It's gotten a lot of good reviews. B2, Keep on the Borderlands. I think this was just redone and re-released recently. This is probably what I'll do next. It has many, many, many glowing reviews. That's probably what I'll do next. B3, Palace of the Silver Princess. And all I did was print this stuff, the cover in color and the rest in black and white to save on ink. B4, The Lost City. B5, Horror on the Hill. So no shortage of adventures here for me. And B6, The Veiled Society. I suppose it's not required to print these out. You can just access these without printing them, but I wanted the physical stuff. B7, Rahasia, I believe is how you say that. Journey to the Rock, B8. B9, Castle Caldwell and Beyond, with a lovely artwork there on the cover. B10, Nightstar Terror. B11, King's Festival. B12, yeah, we're still in B for basic, Queen's Harvest. And here's a B solo, Ghost of Lion Castle. So it's meant to be played solo. Those things are lots of fun. C1, The Hidden Shrine of Tamawakan. I don't know how you say that. That's how I say it. C2, The Ghost Tower of Inverness. And CM5, Mystery of the Snow Pearls. But wait, there's more. If you order now, you'll get D1, Dungeon Module D1, Descent into the Depths of the Earth. I wonder how much time they spent on that title. Shrine of the Kuatoa. D3, Vault of the Drow. Love the artwork, the style. DL1, this is the first in a number of Dragonlance modules. That's all I printed was the first one, just to see if I like it. G1, Steeding of the Hill Giant Chief. G2, The Glacial Rift of the Frost Giant Jarl. G3, Hall of the Fire Giant King. I1, Dwellers of the Forbidden City. And the requirements for these modules vary as far as levels, etc. Character levels, number of players. Ravenloft, which I can't wait to get into. Read a lot of good things about this. This does require 6 to 8 characters though, so I'm not sure how easily this will be soloed, and it's levels 5 to 7. My people are still level 1 at this point. L1, The Secret of Bone Hill. M2, another solo adventure. This is the Maze of the Riddling Minotaur. N1, Against the Cult of the Reptile God. Q1, Queen of the Demon Web Pits. S1, Tomb of Horrors, a legendary adventure. Meant to Destroy You. White Plume Mountain. This is S2. We're about a little over halfway through here. S3, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. Keep going. S4, Lost Cavern of Sojganth. Great artwork there. U1, The Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. WG4, The Forgotten Temple of Tharizdun. This was written by Gygax. And X, we're in X's. X1, The Isle of Dread. X2, Castle Amber. X3, Curse of Xanathon. X4, Master of the Desert Nomads. So I have enough adventures here to last me probably 2 lifetimes. X5, Temple of Death. X7, The War Rafts of Kron. X11, Saga of the Shadow Lord. X13, Crown of Ancient Glory. X Solo Adventure, Lathan's Gold. There's another Solo Adventure, Thunder Delve Mountain for expert level. Here's the Notorious Temple of Elemental Evil, the original one, not the 5th edition one. In fact, I've come to the conclusion that I want nothing to do with 5th edition. I won't go into specifics. Just not for me. The Ruins of Undermountain, Forgotten Realms Adventure. This thing is thick. Gigantic. I don't have the Oriental Adventures supplement yet, but this is an adventure for that, which point whenever I get it. So you can be a ninja or a samurai. And then I printed out the old, I used to have this when I was young. I don't know what happened to it. A number of things just went away. Black Box, 1991, Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of, board gamey approach. I think it was made probably to draw people into board games from that into this as kind of a stepping stone into role playing. And then they made modules for that, right? You've got the Dragon's Den was one. The Haunted Tower was one. And there's a third one with has to do with goblins. I haven't printed that out yet. This is the Dungeon Tiles Reincarnated set. Printed these out in color. And I think that covers it. That is a lot of stuff. And there's a few other things I wouldn't mind grabbing before it's all over, but yeah, that should keep me busy for quite some time, and I think that covers it. So that's what I've been up to. It's been a lot of fun. Again, in the next video I want to go over Wither, where I'm at with that, how that's turned out, etc. So leave comments, etc. thoughts, whatnot, your experience with any of these module recommendations. If I was to play something solo and record it, or even do it live, is there anything in particular you guys would like to see? Let me know. But for now, that's it. So you guys take care, and we'll talk soon.